Clavicular's life is collapsing.
What's poppin', y'all? Clavicular's life has just been in shambles since he had his own PR guy, which is one of the top PR guys in the game, just leave him in the dust after he refused to get help for his drug addiction, because now he's banned on YouTube and pleading with them to unban him. And you'd go on Twitter, X, and say, very sad news this morning. My YouTube channels, at Live with Clav and at Clav looksmaxxing, were terminated this morning with no warning or explanation. The channels consisted of live stream VODs and free courses created by me to help empower young men to be the best versions of themselves. Me and
the OD version, right?
My team worked hard to ensure we followed YouTube's TOS, terms of service, very strictly, blurring out all inappropriate language and sensitive topics. Could you please help me in recovering my accounts? And the crazy part is, YouTube creators, Team YouTube, they usually reply and say, hey, we're looking into this, message us or something like that. They didn't even bother replying to this guy, and they reply to bums like me and people even significantly smaller than this.
YouTube even replied to me, bro. I was shocked one time. I was like, oh, damn, shit. Wow.
Applying all day if you look at their accounts. And funny enough, Nikita Beer, head of product at X, said, I have an idea, and he would probably just tell him like, hey, you should stream on here. But this ban is justified because, number one, this guy got banned immediately when he blew up, like late October or so in 2025. He got banned for what reason? It's probably promoting drug use, and you cannot do that. This is another thing. This guy got banned when he had just overdosed, and they posted that VOD. The guy's doing drugs, he's overdosing. The brand is surrounding something that is illegal. Do you know how much of a liability that is? The funny thing is too, when he's trying to get...
Clav has cooked his brain, bro. He's cooked his
You know how much of a liability that is? The funny thing is, too, when he's trying to get it unbanned, he's like, we just empower young men to be the best versions of themselves. Right. But in a clip that he says himself, there's another reason why he does this, and it's really just money.
At the end of the day, I wouldn't get on these streams and do this if it wasn't for money. The reason I do my kick stream every single day, and I go to clubs, and I drug myself to the point where I'm able to actually interact in public, that is for money. I'm not passionate.
Bro, you should work on your personality, your mental health, your mentality more than your looks, because clearly that's the problem. Your looks aren't really the problem here, my guy.
About the fact that I'm basically a addict to do this. Okay? I want to stop doing this as soon as possible. It's so obvious, and anyone who's got a brain will say the same thing. That's why I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, I do it for money. You know what I mean? People will do this trying to be a messiah. It's ridiculous. Everyone is in this for money.
There's a big...
well, we're not ODing on stream for money, Clav. I think there's a line for some of us, bro. A moral line, morality. Read about it.
Not everybody does this for money. Like, for example, Speed's been doing this since he was a kid. Obviously, he needs to make money, but he started off doing this because he enjoyed it, and he continues to do it because he enjoys it. There are some people that, like Clavicular, I believe, that put themselves in the position to where it needs to be a money-making thing, and they hate every aspect, not every aspect, but the majority of aspects of going live, and he did that to himself. Because even
nobody's forcing him to do this.
In last year, before his blow up, he would talk about his experience being expelled.
Not even a year ago today, when I got expelled from university, we're trying to help you by telling you God's honest truth. Here's the steroids I did. Here's the steroids I'm doing. Someone had to go ahead and get me kicked out of school, right? So I'm not a character. I'm not a well-developed character.
Clearly.
This is a horror story, right? I wish that I wasn't a autist doing this rant right now. I wish I was walking around the dining hall like a normal kid, like a normal mother, hanging out with my buddies in college, right? Even if it's cope, even if college is the dumbest thing known to man, I wish I had that experience, and you guys took that away from me.
It's our fault. It's our fault you got on camera and did all these things because you tried to help us, right? You ODing, you doing all these drugs. It's our fault. Oh, okay, cool.
This is what you get. This is not character development. This is a horror story of what the f happened. So I'm just going with the flow. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it any more than I am right now. right? So that experience got taken away from me.
So this guy got
By
expelled
yourself.
because
By
he would
yourself,
post,
though.
and I really don't blame this guy for just being in it for the money, because he had posted thousands of times on a forum, testing things on himself, sharing this information, and what did he get for it? They figured out where he lived and they wanted to ruin his life, and they told him, hey, this guy's got a bunch of roids, and he got expelled from university because he had so much of it that they thought he was distributing it. Really, they just wanted to get rid of him. But this is also potentially some of the content that got him banned. This was a video on his old channel, his initial channel that got banned, and he's talking about like, yeah, I was telling you guys the exact protocols, the exact drugs that I'm doing. You cannot say that on YouTube.
Yes, please
and
somebody
what's
tell him
funny
that.
enough is that in the same video, he would talk about not being a character or a jester for people's amusement.
For some
Or just
reason, you know, the whole
woman.
Cookieverse thing.
Two.
It's cool, it's fun, you know, there's a lot of people going around. But people are thinking, you know, oh, Clav is such a well-written character. Clav is so entertaining. He's so unique. And, you know, while I appreciate that, you know, understanding that there's, you know, quite a lot of depth to my story, I am not a jester for your amusement, right?
So
I am not a
why?
character. This is not some fucking TV show, right? Where I'm coming on here trying to entertain you, motherfucker. This is the cruel, hard world. So I'm done with this title being thrown around. All right? Well-written character. Okay? You think this is a fucking joke?
Andrew Tate clone.
We live in one of the worst societies
Because of you.
ever throughout the entire history of the world. Quite literally. You have to be in the top percentile to even be looked at with a shred of romance, with a shred of attraction by women in this.
No, you don't, Clav. That's the thing you don't understand. You don't, bro. You don't, bro. Maybe try just be a good guy. Maybe just try be a little bit of a joker. Maybe make her laugh. You know, take her out, show her a good time. What's wrong with you, bruv?
Day of age. So when people are sitting there on TikTok like, oh wow, you know, this edit of Clav is cool, or Clav said this, or Clav, oh, he's such a crazy guy. Motherfucker, you think that I'm doing this as a form of entertainment
Yes.
when I have to stay up for 3 days in a row, high on crystal, right? Trying to suppress my appetite and get hollow cheeks, right?
Who said you have to do that?
Is that supposed to entertain you? I can't even talk to people.
Bro's blaming us for him being a druggie, dog. You're a druggie, not us. What? How's that our fault, bro? What is
Without some sort of, you know, version of you know, benzos. I need fucking Azolam
That's
to be able
your
to have a
fault.
conversation like a normal person. Is that supposed to be entertaining to you?
Funny enough, a little bit later, he would turn
This guy's
into that
cooked.
character for the opportunity to make more money, which
This guy's
is
cooked
understandable
and has
when you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders. But another reason why he got banned is because, well, the first reason is because he's evading a ban. That's why they didn't give him any warnings. Like the first account, they just clapped, because depending on how bad what you did was, they won't even give you a warning. They'll just get you out of here. Like currently, a bunch of people are getting banned for like inauthentic content or just stuff that they believe that was made with AI, and they're clapping these people. They're not saying, hey, look, here's strike one, here's warning one. No, they're saying this entire channel, we don't like the quality or lack thereof. It's not real enough for us, and the AI is clapping them and banning them. And people are getting packed up with some of them claim that they have real authentic channels. I don't know. I
Lies.
haven't looked that far into it. But if you make another account after and you try to keep it up, you're donezo. You're already banned, so those are just going to get packed out too. So what he needed to do was not make these accounts. But what usually happened is someone else made them for him, and it was like kind of like a proxy, but they
And he
were like,
takes
nah,
them
we're
over.
getting rid of this guy. So that's point number one, because there are people that are smaller than him in his sphere that are doing the same thing and talking about the same things, but they didn't get banned. And why is that? Well,
They're small,
simply
that's why.
because of how big he is. Yeah, that's it. Like this guy, they just dropped a Hulu documentary with his face on it. All of the slang, everything that is good for him, that makes him more famous. People are copying his slang. They're all, taking the same protocols as him. Everybody knows this guy now. That's also what makes him a gigantic liability for YouTube. Because if some outlet comes out and says, well, YouTube, they're platforming this guy that's telling kids to hit their hammers on their faces and, do all of these other
inject
things that
themselves
he's
with
suggesting people
illegal
do, and some that he's
substances.
trying to tell people not to do, but showing people that he's doing. in content every day, that's a huge liability. So if you are one of the most famous guys and you're representing that, they're clapping you up. Like for Andrew Tate, they clapped that guy up.
Got him out of here.
Time. And his content was nothing compared to Clavicular. He wasn't doing drugs. He wasn't doing anything illegal, like not in his content.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
At least, but they just said, hey, there's a lot of backlash on this guy and he is getting ultra famous. We don't want him here. Another similar situation happened with EDP. So EDP, it wasn't because he got caught, because there was another guy, a guy by the name of Mini Lad, who got caught in a similar situation as EDP, and it was with a real person. So it was a real girl that he got caught chatting it up with. And EDP situation, he tried to meet up and he met up with a decoy. But this person, it's worse because it wasn't even a decoy. And his channel's still there. It's got 4.3 million subscribers. Does he really post on it anymore?
I was about to ask a crazy question. I was going to ask, is it worse to be caught with the decoy or to be caught with the actual person? I actually don't know which one is worse. But I think it's the actual person because, I mean, that is crazy. But, I mean, let's not even...
Here and there, okay, not really. It's been several years. But this guy got caught and he didn't get banned because EDP's news was everywhere. He was not affiliated, but he was known as like the biggest Ravens fan. And there were headlines about it, news stories. It became national news, the EDP situation. So much so that it became a phrase that's associated with something you really don't want to be associated with. So YouTube just clapped and they said, oh, we don't want to deal with this. Get the hell out of here. And they do that all the time. So that's another reason why he had to play by the rules and he chose not to, and they got him, they packed him up. And some people will say like, yeah, he's safe, but you really want to be on this platform. And this is the problem with what happened to this guy. Like for instance, now he's getting prayers, or some people are calling it spells, casted on him. His audience is turning against him.
Hi.
Who's spelling him?
How are you? Shalom. How are you?
What's your name?
Clav.
כבוד הרב, מה נשמע? מה שלומכם?
ברוך השם צדיקים, ברוך השם, ברוך השם, השם ישמור אתכם צדיקים, מאוד אתכם. הצלחה גדולה, הצלחה גדולה, צדיקים.
קוראים לו קלאב, ברנדן קוראים לו, your real name.
Braden.
Clav is brain dead.
Say like all the praise, all the blessing, all the blessing, all the blessings.
הוא עכשיו, יש דבר חדש, כבוד הרב, קוראים לזה סטרימינג, הוא בין החזקים של אמריקה. היה לו החודש 2 ביליון אנשים שראו אותו, מאוד מפורסם, ילד טוב. אני שותף איתנו בכמה...
So here you have it. It's like, oh, this rabbi's calling a blessing on him or something like that. Some people call it a blessing. Some people call it a curse. Some people call it a spell. I don't really know what it is. I can't understand it. But he did get a Snapchat account back the next day. But this is hilarious because this is the same guy that was in the infamous Clubacost incident. He was also prior to that incident. He was banging the song himself late last year. This guy was he invited Nick Fuentes to interview with him a year ago, and he built this audience. Like, he's not a political guy, but he's definitely not the guy that's just gonna have a rabbi running a prayer on him. Well, it's like, usually you would think like, he's like, not chill, I'm not with that. That's like a you thing. And even his audience, they would be really upset with him. And they're like, dude, what the hell is going on?
Well, Clav is not who he says he is, clearly.
This is boring. Like, for example, his own community. One post is just saying like LMAO, and it's just him doing gambling nonstop, possibly because he has to meet the quota for gambling, but also to make sure that he's not doing drugs because he needs to do drugs to stream. And I think he has to stay sober, or claims that he's staying sober. I don't know if he is.
Imagine, so you can't do drugs on stream, so your next alternative is gambling. Interesting.
You've even got people saying you guys should reconsider Clav's deal. He only gets like 1K real viewers when he gambles and is very unenthusiastic. He also tells everyone not to gamble. No point giving him 15K a day at stake. That's where he has to deal with. And then there's another person saying there's no point in watching Clavicular anymore. Don't tune into his streams. He doesn't care about content or the fans anymore. He only cares about promoting his garbage club and gambling. And this is,
you guys just want him back on the drugs, right?
The issue. People will whine no matter what you do in your own community, but the situation with him is he's just lost in the sauce. And the problem is you can avoid getting lost in the sauce if you got the recipe. And the recipe is your morals. Like, what are you standing on? What are you based on? And what are you willing to stand for and not bend to? And that can be anything. Like, for example, like gambling is evil, quote unquote, if you said that and you were very against it. And then you hop on it, that doesn't look too great. If you never really had much of an opinion on it, it's not so bad. But
I won't lie to you. That's the one fickle point they might get me at, the gambling thing, because I don't condone gambling. But if Steak is going to tell me to gamble on Kick and give me, what, 500K a month to gamble on Kick, bro, why wouldn't I do that, bro? Because there's certain people I feel like if they start gambling, they're gone. Me, if I start gambling, I know I can stop gambling. But I also don't like gambling. So it's a bit of a catch-22 because, like, bro, of course I want the bag if I just have to gamble. But at the same time, I'm not trying to push that gambling onto the youth.
For Clavicular here, he's like, yo, this person sold out. He's getting, blessings put on him. He's into business with shady characters. He's gambling now. Every single thing, he's allegedly running an OF agency. Every single thing he complained about society ruining young men, he is now selling and shilling. So when you really have nothing left to stand on, you better be one of the best entertainers because that's all that's left. It's like, what is the jester going to do for us today? What is the performance that he's going to put on? Because one thing people will never miss is a circus act. And they'll be there for that. But is that what someone wants to be for the next who knows how many years until he's able to be set for life? I don't know. But
well, how he moves, this brew has been a circus act from day one, bro. I don't think that's just been him, bro. He's just, I don't know, man. Clav worries me, bro. It's like is he the representation of the younger generation now? Because a lot of these looksmaxxing guys, bro, they're flipping like, it's like they're so brain dead. They don't understand like just basic human interaction, just how to be a normal person, bro. They're just very weird. There's one dude who wears a wig. Who's that? Hixamlite? Like, bro, as a young, I don't know how old that guy is. I'm sure he's like 20 years old or something. Why are you wearing a wig, dog? As a man, to look better, bro. Then you got Clav busy taking selfies like a thought, bruv. Or like, in the camera. Is this what our young gents are on, bruv? This is you. This is you. Like, comment, and subscribe, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. Because if I say too much, I'm gonna get cancelled now. Okay? The visa just accepted. Now they're gonna cancel, decline. No. Like, comment, and subscribe.